So how much can I get for a trade? Well, I don't think bananas are worth what you think they're worth. If shopping for a new car drives you bananas, head to Community Auto Group in Mason City. We have the best selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. And you know with Community, you're getting a straightforward deal from a straightforward dealer. I'd like to buy this car. No? Seriously? Next time I'll skip the monkey business and go to Community Auto Group.
First of all, Coach, your reaction to the IOC dropping wrestling in the 2020?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, I'm surprised. Second of all, it's worse than death because you can't control death. I feel like we could have controlled this to some degree, get ahead of it a little bit. There were warning signs in the past. We're not going to get into that. I think, talking to some coaches around the country, John Smith said it best, you're going to fight. And this country is going to get it done because I think there's 10 international Olympic sponsors, and 6 of them are United States based. Does that mean it's automatic? No, but maybe that's a starting point. There's a lot of things that go through your head, and anger is probably one of them, but that doesn't get anything done. So what you do is you gather information. Mike Novogratz, he was a team leader for freestyle, for the freestyle team the last 8 years, been very involved, and his response was on par with John Smith, and that's fight, but do it the right way. You have to get people behind you. You have to do it smart. You have to do it educated. You have to do it professional, and you have to do it with some muscle as well. So, that's where we're at. I think some things in the past that you talk about, you say, well, what are those things? You don't have to really go there, but for sure the rule changes. The rule changes it needs to retain its originality, and I'm not sure it went more original with the rule change. I think it went more to something that's similar to like judo. And, we need to get ahead of that and lead as a country, and Russia and Iran and other wrestling strong nations do the same. Because I can tell you right now, when those rule changes went down, I don't know if there was one country that liked the rule changes. And there was a lot of grumbling maybe, but nothing that was really said because maybe you're worried about politics. But I don't know anybody that was feeling good about the rule changes. So we got to fight in our hands. We got to fight. We got to, you're motivated, you're positive. It's like anything else. It's similar to some of the challenges that you faced in college wrestling over the last 30, 40 years. Just got to move forward. We got good people too. Got to get those good people in front of the right people.
From what you've heard and what you know, how did this happen? How could wrestling have been in a position to even lose this?
Is it just? That's what you're asking. Is it just that wrestling was the one? And, you look at the history, and as you read more and more and more, the past president's son is an advocate for the modern pentathlon. There's some things that are kind of funny, that are real odd coincidences there. And I think that, when you talk about some of the comments that you read about some of the people that were in charge of the governing body for modern pentathlon and maybe some of these other sports that were saved that were also on the cutting block, they even say that they did their job politically. They did their job, smoothing things out. I don't know if wrestling did that. And I don't know if it's arrogance on our part or... the warning signs were there, though, and maybe subtly, but they were there. And now, this isn't final either, and that's a good thing, although it's dangerous. But, so does that answer your question?
Could you imagine growing up realizing that you would never be able to participate?
I think as a youngster, you look at the pinnacle of the sport, and even if you don't know what it is in this country as a youngster when you're first getting involved, you find out real quick, especially the way the information travels. I remember, in 1980 or whatever, 1979, We didn't have the internet, but I found out pretty quickly what the pinnacle of the sport was when I started wrestling, and it was the Olympic Games.
What in a nutshell is at stake for the sport?
I think what's at stake of the sport is maintaining the Olympic presence. And we go from there. You know, what ramifications this has for college wrestling, I don't think I go there yet in my head. We're getting ready for Edinburgh. And, you know, that's where we're at. That doesn't mean that I'm downplaying this at all. But what it means is that there's really two things at stake here. I don't think you go down the path where, you know, how is this going to affect collegiate wrestling yet, because the decision hasn't been made. It's not final. May, we got to get, you know, a strong presence in May, and then we got to have a strong presence for the vote in September.
You think it changes, assuming everything goes through the 2016, all the wrestlers that want to try it for the last one, instead of maybe waiting for 220?
I think nothing changes. When you're a competitor, I think, you know, and right now, I mean, you know, I've been asked about Metcalf and, you know, but he's in Baku, Azerbaijan right now in a training camp getting ready for the World Cup, which is in Iran. You know, and his, obviously, he got the news the same time we did. But, you know, he's a competitor. He's putting things, you know, in perspective, too. He's getting ready for an event. What we have to do is we have to become unified as a world. It sounds corny, kind of, but, you know, wrestling is third in the number of medals won in the United States, behind swimming and track. It's ahead of gymnastics. It's ahead of every other sport. And, you know, in the world theater, if you want to call it that, you know, there's diversity. There's all kinds of arguments for wrestling, and there's like 39 criteria you read about, and then you try to find those 39 criteria, and you really can't find them, but there's like 6 or 7 that are probably the main categories. And out of those 6 or 7 categories, I mean, wrestling is strong in 3 for sure, and it's pretty strong in the other 4. I mean, one of them's cost. I mean, what does it cost to have a wrestling match? So those aren't where I want to go with this, though. My point is keep it in perspective. Let the people that are going to take this to battle take it to battle. And, you know, the United States and these countries that all feel the same, being ambushed, need to unify. And, you know, our FILA Bureau representative, Stan Dezick, he's actually at a FILA conference or on his way to one. And it was supposed to start the 16th. What's the date today? The 12th? I'll never forget February 12th. And now they're going to start the 14th, I believe. So 2 days from now, they'll be discussing this with FILA, the governing body of international wrestling. So a lot of questions yet to be answered, and I have a lot of questions. You have a lot of questions, and the best thing I can tell you is we fight in an educated, unified manner, and the United States has to lead the charge. We have to with our resources.
You talked about the warning signs, Coach. Can you get more specific on that?
When you found out about the Olympics today, what ran through your mind?
I mean, not a whole lot. I feel confident about the whole situation. It's the world's oldest sport. I mean, it's in the Bible. It's almost every single country has wrestling. So I think it's something that, you know, the people of the wrestling community are going to be outspoken about it, and the world, America, whoever you know are thinking of, is going to know that this is a sport that we want to keep.
How did knowing the Olympics was sometime down the line in the future, how did that motivate you as a kid as you went through different levels in your progress?
It's always a dream. I mean, when you're young, it's more of a dream, something you fantasize about, something you see and you go, wow, that would just be crazy. And then I've said it before and I'll say it again, the better you do, the harder you work, the more realistic it becomes. And now it's something that is more of a reality and more of something that is an attainable goal that I have to work unbelievably hard to get to, but I'm going to do everything I can to get to that level.
You said you're confident things are going to get resolved, but do you feel like your time's running out with only 2016 here potentially?
I guess so. I mean, right now I'm focusing on my season, of course, but you know, taking that out of the picture, I have one Olympics right now ahead of me, and you know, I can't look much further than that. I gotta do whatever I can to get where I want this next time around, and then after that, it's time to start to think about it. But obviously, they decide before the 2016, so it's something that the big governing bodies, I think, will have a lot to say about.
Could you imagine you being a wrestler without a chance to wrestle for an Olympic gold medal?
Absolutely not. That's something that I definitely can't imagine, and I don't think anyone should have to in any sport for that matter.
What was your reaction when you heard the news today?
I don't know. At first I was a little upset about it. You know, more thinking about 2016 being the last year. The young kids that are coming up through the programs and their goals are to be Olympic champs. You know, at least I still got one shot. I still got one chance to win my gold medal, do what I got to do, and if I don't accomplish it, at least I had a chance, and it's my fault if I don't get there.
Can you imagine the Olympics? I mean, without wrestling?
No, it's not something I want to think about either, but hopefully it's something they get figured out.
You think something will get figured out?
I don't know. It's out of my control. That's up to them.
Does it infuriate you as a wrestler that they would think about taking a sport that's been around that long in the Olympics away?
I don't know if it infuriates me, but you know, I'm still focused on winning national titles right now. So that's my main goal right now is to get asterisks next to my name, because if the Olympics are gone, that's what everyone's going to remember you by, is your national titles, your world championships. You still got the world championships.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.